the Civil War and the Commonwealth. The two parties. Between 1642 and 1649, there were bloody battles between the Royalists and the Parliamentarians. It was a struggle between tyranny, embodied by Stuart absolutism, and liberty, represented by Parliament. Some viewed it as a class conflict between the aristocratic landowners that supported the king and the middle class of merchants, artisans, and the small gentry who sided with the Puritans and Parliament. Royalists or Cavaliers and Parliamentarians, also called Roundheads because they considered long hair sinful and cut theirs short, were clearly different in appearance, ideologies, and ways of life. The two parties were also regionally different. The Royalists were concentrated in Wales, Cornwall, and the west of England, while the City of London, the seaports, and eastern England supported Parliament. The Parliamentarian army, called New Model Army, was stronger because it was made up of professional soldiers, the Ironsides, and it had a cavalry. These were better armed and equipped. They were mainly middle-class men who thought that God was on their side. They were trained through hard discipline and collective prayer. The commander of the Parliamentarian army was an MP called Oliver Cromwell, a strongly built and religious man. He regarded it as his mission to free his land from superstition. Charles I was captured in 1648 and was brought to London, where a commission was set up to try him for treason. The Long Parliament was purged of 370 Presbyterian and Royalist sympathizers. The remaining 121 most radical members were called the Rump Parliament. The king was condemned to death, and his execution took place in 1649. The Rump Parliament abolished the monarchy and declared a republic, the Commonwealth. The House of Lords was abolished and censorship was introduced. Cromwell took the New Model Army to Ireland for a campaign of repression which culminated in the slaughter the citizens of Drogheda. Cromwell also defeated the Scottish Royalists who had crowned Charles I's son, Charles II, King of Scotland. Charles II managed to escape to France, and Cromwell gave himself the title of Lord Protector of England, Scotland, and Ireland. In 1655, Cromwell divided the country into 11 military regions under major generals. Puritan rules were introduced, including execution for adultery, the abolition of popular pastimes, games, dancing, and theater performances. Inns, pubs, and theaters were closed down. Cromwell banned Christmas and Easter and replaced them with the days of fasting The Republic encouraged foreign trade, and both the merchant and the war fleet grew rapidly. In 1651, Parliament had passed the Navigation Acts, giving a sort of monopoly of trade to British ships. Cromwell died in 1658 at the age of 59. His son, Richard, held office for 8 months before the realm voted to end the Protectorate. In 1660, the army invited Charles II to come back from France, and so the monarchy was restored.